Welcome to the SLP Stress Management Podcast, the place for you to manage stress, reduce burnout, and find more balance in your life. I'm your host, Jessie Andricks, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about 5 myths surrounding gratitude and positivity. So this is one of my favorite things to talk about because gratitude and positivity have become so huge over the last year in both the positive light, but also in the negative. So here's the thing. Gratitude is not for the faint of heart, the overly bubbly, or the ignorers of the reality of life. Positivity, especially when there is a pandemic and a lot of resistance to cultural diversity and a ton of changes going on, can seem like a bit of a fluffy, syrupy, overly sweet and sentimental way to basically not validate someone, to dismiss feelings, and to ignore what is really going on. Gratitude and positivity can seem toxic, but it isn't always so. These things are not always toxic and are not always just sticky sweet and invalidating. Gratitude, true gratitude and positivity do not ignore the feelings and reality of the situation at hand. They absolutely accept it. And they accept it without trying to change it. So it's not ignoring it, and it's not saying, oh, well, it could be this instead, or let's only see this part of it. They look at the bigger picture and pull in the pieces of the day and your life that are working, that are good, and that are thriving, or, this last year that are simply surviving, and that shine a little bit brighter. They validate some of the good and positive feelings that you're also experiencing, but may be missing from your day. Not that these are not part of your day, but that they are passing you by, that you are missing the experience of them. So it's not adding in this false happiness or this false optimism, but noticing those things that are going on around you that maybe you're totally not seeing because the focus is on all of the things that we wish we could change. So here are some common myths and misconceptions that you might have, or maybe you've heard, about gratitude and positivity. So these are the 5 myths about gratitude. First one, it is weak. So heck no. Having gratitude is really hard. It is really difficult to do when things are so hard, and it is difficult to remember to do when things are going well. Your brain is not wired to be grateful. When your brain is reminding you of how much everything sucks and you feel that there is nothing good or noteworthy from your day and that the world is unfair and against you, it can be really, really difficult to shift into a mindset of gratitude. It can be so hard to just simply say, this is all awful. I'm also grateful for this other thing. It's also not just some generational nonsense. Studies have shown that gratitude helps to build resiliency and strengthen your brain, which is tough stuff. So, if anything, gratitude is strong and empowering. It is not weak. Gratitude is not a snowflake. It is not weak. It is incredibly strong. All right, myth number 2, it is toxic. Well, there are some sources of positivity, which means gratitude, that could be considered toxic, but actual gratitude is not toxic. Toxic positivity and gratitude is when you start to ignore or pretend like everything is okay. So you ignore what's going wrong and you pretend that everything is okay when it is absolutely not okay. This kind of thinking is when you turn everything into a good thing, even if deep down you are upset and it is a really bad thing. It is a dismissal rather than an acceptance and gratitude for other pieces. So it becomes toxic when we only look for silver linings. Now, I'm not saying that you could never look for a silver lining or you can never see the opportunity within the challenge, but that you are ignoring that it is hard at all, that you are only going for, well, yeah, sure, maybe it's hard, but this is a really, truly great thing. This is a dismissal. So true gratitude is an acceptance that, yes, this is very hard, and I'm also grateful for these other things that are happening. Actual gratitude is not ignoring the hard things or turning them into something good. Again, there is a difference here between toxic and seeing what you learned from something. It's saying that both things exist, even when they are off balance. There are good pieces, sometimes small and minute ones, alongside the tougher, harder pieces of life. Myth number 3, it ignores the negative. Nope, just not true. It actually acknowledges this part, but your brain is already doing that too. You already know that you are upset, having a hard time, and noticing all the things that are going wrong. That is completely clear to you. Your brain is wired to look for that. You already know all of these things that are not working. Gratitude simply says, hey, those things suck, but these things are also happening. Let's acknowledge them too. So it brings things into better balance. It helps create new pathways for your brain to notice the negative and the positive. It's not ignoring the negative, but embracing the other parts. And these are the parts that sometimes get pushed aside when there are other, more vocal, louder parts that you want to focus on and that want you to focus on them. But they are equally, if not more so, important to your well-being and for a full picture and a perspective. Myth number 4, it dismisses your feelings. Not at all. You are allowed to and should feel all your feelings. Don't shove them down or push them aside or pretend that everything is okay when it is not. There are no good or bad feelings, and even saying negative versus positive can be misleading. Feelings are feelings. Noticing more of the things that you are grateful for simply shines a light on the things that you might be overlooking or dismissing, sometimes unintentionally, as not as important because they don't need to be resolved or solved or fixed. They are already there. Gratitude practices help you to not dismiss, but instead acknowledge all of your feelings. Myth number 5, it doesn't really do anything. Sometimes it can sure feel that way when you're working on stuff that is not tangible or when results take a while to show. Gratitude does do something though, and in fact, it does quite a lot. For your brain, it trains it to look at the positive, which helps you to reduce stress without even having to think about it anymore. For your body, it reduces the stress and the stress response. And for your mindset and your outlook, it builds resiliency. It looks at the positive and not just the negative. And bonus, myth number 6, it is super trendy. Now this is a bonus myth because it's not really a myth at all. It's pretty true, but trendy is not always a bad thing. Gratitude is really trendy right now. But it's because it works and it is so needed. With an increase in studies and resources, gratitude is easier than ever to learn about and to access and to understand the benefits of. You can ignore the trendiness of it and stick to a tried and true gratitude practice. And that way, once the trends die down, you can continue to stick to your gratitude practice. So here's the thing. Your brain is wired to keep you alive. It is about surviving, not about thriving. This part has to be trained and taught. Your brain is going to look for the negative and the things that are going all kinds of wrong and dwell on them to keep you safe, to alert you, and to get you to possibly problem solve and or automatically react like fight, flight, or freeze. It is there to stress you the fluff out over and over again. It's not the enemy. It's more like a well-intentioned overprotective friend that creates more chaos and stress in your life. Pretty fun, right? You have to train your brain to look at the things that are positive, and from there, you will thrive. So now that you know what might have been holding you back, you can start to infuse more of it into your day. Get out there and practice some gratitude. Create a gratitude journal. Start to think about the things that are working for you and going well in your life. And if you need some help getting started, you can head over to the gratitude meditations and journal templates available at jessieandrix.com in the SLP Toolbox. Subscribe to it there and grab those tools. You can also check out the gratitude action plan, which is available in the SLP Stress Management shop over at jessieandrix.com. So I'd love for you to share. You can pop this into the comments or send me a DM on Instagram at jessieandrix or send me an email, jessie@jessieandrix.com. What myth have you heard about gratitude? Which one have you been following or pops up a lot in your life? Share that with me and let's discuss it and let's add more gratitude into our daily lives. Train our brains to see the full picture and to go from surviving to thriving. Thank you so much for tuning in today and for listening and for taking this gratitude journey and putting it into your life. Are you ready to truly manage your stress, reduce burnout, and finally find more balance in your life? Well, the SLP Stress Management course is here to help you do just that. In this 8-week course, you'll take a deep dive into what stress is and why it affects SLPs so much, as well as learn practical stress management tools as you build a step-by-step system that works for your stress and your daily needs. You can check this out now at jessieandrix.com, and I hope to see you in the course.